Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name's Kit, and this is my world. And thank you very much for joining me. Lately, I've been calling myself Tagman because I'm going through a tag phase. So here comes another one. This is the Winter Essentials tag. I know it's a little bit late in the year to be doing it, but I've only just discovered it, and I quite like it. It was originally created by Taylor Reeds. I'll leave a link in the description. And let's get cracking. Question number 1. Crackling Fire. Who is your favourite cold character who warmed up towards the end? I'm going to cheat. I'm not going to give you a bookie answer. It's Tom from Downton Abbey. I can't answer this question with any other character. There's no book character that answers this question as well as Tom from Downton Abbey. If you're not a fan, if you haven't watched the show, Tom is a servant. He works below stairs, and he's a mean, unpleasant, cold, calculating, rather Machiavellian character. He's also a closet homosexual, and the era in which the series is based, of course, that meant that being in the closet was kind of essential, and so he's got a lot of fear and resentment and bitterness about all of that stuff. He's hiding his true self. It's a horrible way to live, and so he starts off the series being a baddie, a real baddie, and you hate him, but he is so well written and so beautifully acted that over the course of the series, as his character evolves and develops, he has an amazing arc, and he ends up being an incredibly sympathetic character. And it's a redemption arc, and it's the best kind of redemption arc. I really, really love it. So although it's not a book, it feels kind of like a book. Downton feels as if it's based on a book. So I'm going to give Downton bookie credentials and give Tom the credit for being the Crackling Fire character in this tag. Question number 2. Snowflakes. What is a book that was full of unique characters? This one I'm really struggling to answer, because there are lots of books that I like where the characters feel really well fleshed out, three-dimensional, solid, real, and interesting. But unique, that's difficult, because, as you probably know, my main genre has been fantasy, and fantasy characters tend to get recycled from one author to the next, and from one book or series to the next. Tropes abound in the fantasy world, and that's good. That's comforting. It's comfort of the familiar. We want that. We like that. But trying to find unique characters in my main genre is really tough, and so the only way I can answer this question, I guess, is to go back to the beginning-ish. And Tolkien, of course. I know Tolkien didn't actually originate. I mean, there was lots of stuff before Tolkien, but Tolkien kind of created the kind of fantasy that modern fantasies are based on. And so I'm going to say that The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings probably have original characters that are unique, or at least were at the time of creation, I think. But I don't really know. Question number 3. Gingerbread Family. Which fictional family would you want to be a part of? Easy, the Railway Children. I don't even have to think about it. I love the family from the Railway Children. They're a loving family. They're intelligent. They're upper middle class. They're rosy cheeked. They like exploring and having adventures. They play together, they talk together, they read together, they go to the theatre together, and I mean theatre in the British sense, not the American sense. They go and see plays at the theatre, and the parents are very active and proactive in their children's lives. Lots of bad things happen, but they all pull together, and they're a model family for me. That's the family that I would like to have grown up in. Well, in a way I kind of did. A lot of my childhood felt very similar to the Railway Children, in fact. But yeah, I really connect with the family in the Railway Children. And I suppose, or similarly, and pretty much equally, is the Walker family in the Swallows and Amazons books, for very similar reasons. Again, these are classic children's literature from the good old days, the days that I like reading about, and this is a very warm, loving family. They've got lots of good humour, they're kind of ruddy and outdoorsy and windswept and interesting. They like sailing, they like exploring and adventuring and doing all that stuff. So yeah, the Railway Children is a little bit warmer and cosier, I suppose, and the Swallows and Amazons books are a little bit more outdoorsy and adventuresome. Those families. Question number 4. Blizzard. What is a book that had you confused the whole time? Alice in Wonderland. Oh my god. No. Just no. You may have noticed that I do have a slight leaning towards absurdist humour and the ridiculous, so you would think that I would like Alice in Wonderland, but no, I bloody hate it. It's awful. It messes with my brain. I don't like psychedelic children's books. I'm sorry, but it's just, when I read a book, especially a children's book, I don't want to feel like I'm having acid flashbacks, and Alice in Wonderland is just way too much of that for me. It's not my cup of tea at all. So very confusing. I don't like it. Question number 5. Gift giving. What is the last book that was gifted to you? It's the Pooh book, and it's behind me on the shelf. I don't know if you can see it. If you can't, I will show you a picture of it. If you can, I won't bother. But it's the Pooh book, and it was gifted to me by Simon and Amy from BookTube with Simon and Amy. It came in a bundle of Christmas gifts. There were many gifts, and that book was one of them. There were other books as well, but that's the one that's currently on my shelf, and that is funny as an answer, so I'm going to say the Pooh book. Question number 6. Snowball. What is the biggest book you've ever read? I checked this one before going on camera, so I can tell you precisely. It's Lord of the Rings, probably no surprise there. It's 1,112 pages long, not including the index at the back. So that's definitely the biggest book I've read, and that is also a correction, because in a previous tag, I can't remember which one, in a previous tag it asked me for the longest book I'd read, and I said Althalus. I still can't remember what it's called. It's the David Eddings one. I'll show you a graphic. I know I've got a graphic because I used it in my other video. But it's David Eddings' book, Althalus, or The Redemption of Althalus. Something to do with Althalus, or Attalus, or Watley. It begins with A. And it's a really big, chunky book. It's got many, many pages, but not quite as many as Lord of the Rings. So that is the winner. Question number 7. Wrapping paper. What is your most beat up book? It's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I will now cut to some footage of me fumbling with the tatty old pages from this book. This book is as old as I am. It was one of my earliest books. I think it might have been my first book. It was very well loved in my childhood, and it's completely falling to pieces, and it's knackered. Question number 8. Christmas lights. What is a book you own that has many colours on the cover? I don't have very many colourful books per se. Well, for starters, all of the physical books that I've got have been very sun damaged, so they're all faded. But also, most of my books are fantasy novels, and so a lot of them have got very colourful covers, many of them illustrated by Jeff Taylor. So there are very strong, bold, vivid covers in the original versions of them before they were faded. But they don't necessarily have lots and lots of different colours. They're not like Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. By the way, the colours are red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and gold and lilac and fawn and chocolate and mauve and cream and crimson and silver and rose and azure and lemon and russet and grey and purple and white and pink and orange and blue. But that's beside the point. My books have vivid colours, but not necessarily lots of different colours all on the same thing. So it's difficult to answer that. But what I will say is my Bill Bryson books, I will show you some graphics, they're very busy. busy. They have quite busy, colourful sort of covers. But my fantasy books are colourful but not splashy. Question number 9. Ice skating. What is a book that had a plot that was all over the place? Again, I feel compelled to mention Lewis Carroll and the Alice books. All over the place. Just stick to one place and do something there. Have an interesting adventure somewhere near a lake with a sailing boat or something. Don't be jumping in and out of rabbit holes and going to weird places. If you want to jump in and out of something, make it a wardrobe and go to Narnia, because that place is nice. But I don't like Wonderland. But separate from the Lewis Carroll books, I'm also going to go a little bit left field with this question. And I'm going to say Apollo 13. All over the place, I'm deliberately now taking more literally than it was intended. It's obviously intended figuratively. But Apollo 13 is kind of all over the place. They orbit the Earth a lot, and then they travel round the moon as well. They travel a very great distance to cover absolutely no distance at all, because it's a very long journey, and they end up back where they started without having achieved very much at all, except staying alive, which is quite an achievement, I suppose. So yes, I'm going to say Apollo 13 as my answer to this question. Question number 10. Christmas tree. Who is your favourite character of all time? Yes, you can only choose one. No, because I don't like rules. I don't like being told what to do. It makes me very stubborn. I dig my heels in and I become rebellious. So I'm going to say 2. And also they're 2 that you've heard me talk about before. So I'm just going to name them very, very quickly and move on, because it's Mara and Arakasi, both from the Empire trilogy by Raymond E. Feist and Janny Wirtz. Moving on. Question number 11. The Star. What's a book you look forward to rereading each year? And we're going to move on very quickly again. It's the Empire trilogy. I'm sorry, it's my favourite. I love it. I never look forward to anything more than I look forward to the Empire trilogy. Question number 12. Snowball fight. Tag 5 people. Insert description with timestamps. Nope. Not doing it. Everyone tagged. And on that note, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you haven't already, you know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share, leave a comment, do all the good stuff, and I will see you next time. See you later.